And here I will speak as a key actor in the new Patriotic Party. I think that the question of manifestos and promises must be looked at very simply from two perspectives. First of all, the credibility of the promises that are being made. The credibility. And then secondly, the how. When you take the credibility, the good thing is that for the first time, the two persons who are the front runners in this election have both had the opportunity to occupy the office of president. So in looking at the credibility of the promises they are making, one ought to first look at their track record when they were in office and their position on some of the matters they are speaking to today. And it will help anybody who wants to do an analysis understand whether or not you can take any of these promises as credible. So for example, if you have a leader who, when he was president or before he became, let's say, vice president, promised as part of his party's manifesto that they would bring a one-time health or one-time premium for health insurance. And for 8 years, they never did it. And today, he turns around to say that he will make primary health care free. Does it sound to anybody like a credible promise? If you have a leader who, from 2008 through to 2012, opposed the state providing free education for people at the senior high school level consistently. It won't work. If we would have worked, Kojo Oppong Nkrumah would have done it. If it would have worked, it would take 20 years to come on, etc. And today, you have the same person say that, first of all, he now believes in it and will now make tertiary education 50% free. You have an opportunity to ask yourself whether or not it sounds to anybody like a credible promise. If you have somebody who, in 2012, promised that he will pay assembly members an allowance, and 4 years didn't pay, didn't even provide them with logistics like motorbikes, and it took another administration to come and provide them with motorbikes. And today he comes back and repeats the promise that he will provide an allowance for them. Does it sound to anybody like a credible promise? If you have somebody who, during his period, ran down the Ghanaian economy, went to the IMF for a bailout, and as a result could not employ young people when they were graduating from school. You recall the graduate unemployment associations that were formed. You recall the cancellation of allowances because of economic crisis and the argument that even if they will vote against us, they should vote against us. And today this person comes and says that he is going to create 1 million jobs. In 4 years. Does this sound to anybody like a credible promise? So the first thing to look at is the person's track record. If you have somebody who from 2008 says, I will do free SHS, and he has done free SHS, and now he says that I will give a student loan option for tertiary, for people to go to tertiary, literally on credit if they can't afford, and when they get a job, they pay for it. Does that sound like a credible promise? I dare say yes, because he's done the first part. He's more credible on this one. So the first thing in discussing manifestos is the credibility angle of your track record. What was your track record? The second thing is that all the promises that have been listed, it costs money to deliver, mostly. So you can reduce all the promises to the economy and ask yourself, who is best placed in managing the economy so that the economy can find the money or the resources to deliver on the promises? That's why in Fee we say, so again, if you have somebody who was given, and yesterday if you listen to them, they said that Mr. Mahama inherited an ailing economy. An ailing economy from President Mills? Is that it? That he inherited an ailing economy from President Mills? That cannot be true. That cannot be true. Wasn't he chairman of the economic management team? So who did he inherit the ailing economy from? But you put that aside. So he says he inherited an ailing economy. Put that aside. We are all witnesses to the fact that when the economy of Ghana was given to President Mills, he didn't take it to IMF. President Mills didn't take the Ghanaian economy to IMF. When it was fully put in the hands of Mr. Mahama, he told us that they had chewed the meat down to the bone. And therefore, they went for an IMF bailout, which came with all sorts of conditionalities. You and I recall, we were here in this country. Now, having seen how he has managed an economy, if today he comes back and he says that the first pillar of his manifesto is to restore the economy and cure poverty. We have seen how he did it in the last 4 years. Does it sound like a credible promise? And does his track record suggest that he's somebody who is able to manage an economy to a point where it can find the resources to pay for all the promises that he's making? Your guess is as good as mine. So we believe Ghanaians are very discerning people. We don't believe that Ghanaians have a short memory. We believe that Ghanaians are very discerning people. They will have an opportunity to look at his track record and what he delivered and what he's promising and do the comparison. If you have somebody who made a law to make Okada illegal, he made the law to make Okada illegal in 2012. It is a law that, in all honesty, is not being applied in full force under this administration because Okada is still operating. Okada is still operating. And now he turns around that he is the #1 lover of Okada riders. So he's going to make Okada legal and add some things to it. I'm sure that my cousins and my colleagues who are Okada riders will ask themselves whether or not he's credible or is saying something hoping to win political power. So those would be my answers. Let me just say it in 3 very quickly. Eba no manifesto nkomo na nye nkomo tintin bia. Ye hwe no mienu.